Kiss meets the Phantom of the Park. Forget Taylor Swift, forget BTS, forget Harry Styles. Kiss was everything in the 70s. They were the biggest rock band of that decade. They released several hit albums, sold out arenas, had their own dolls, and became a household name. But did you know they once fought an evil inventor to save Magic Mountain from being destroyed? Today, we take a look at Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park, an NBC original movie that aired Halloween weekend 1978. So, was it really the Star Wars holiday special for Kiss fans? Who was the Phantom and why Kiss? Stay through to the end of the video for all of these answers and more. If you enjoy this video, be sure to lick that like button and subscribe. Now, let's head back to Magic Mountain 1978. Who was the Phantom? Abner Devereaux is the Phantom, an evil inventor who works at Magic Mountain creating popular animatronic attractions. He becomes increasingly annoyed when the park's Kiss concert overshadows all of his hard work. Devereaux is fired after a series of suspicious events swearing revenge on Kiss park owner Calvin Richards and the park itself. He hides in his underground laboratory in an ode to the Phantom of the Opera, creating mind control devices and evil robot doppelgangers of the band. This mad genius even unleashes a Gene Simmons cyborg that wreaks havoc on the theme park, attempting to frame Kiss for all of the mayhem. His plan backfires, and soon the Phantom is in an all-out war with Kiss, using his evil animatronic creations to defeat the band. Eventually, the Phantom loses his fight, Kiss are declared the heroes, and Abner Devereaux is forever locked in a frozen catatonic state under the hugely popular theme park. Who knows, he might still be there today. Abner Devereaux is played by Anthony Zerbe, perhaps best known for his role as apocalyptic cult leader Mateus in The Omega Man. He can also be seen in Star Trek Insurrection and the Matrix sequels. He even won an Emmy in 1976 for his role as Lieutenant Casey Trench in the private detective series Harry O. But we'll always remember him as the Phantom. The Talismans. Each member of Kiss has their own special talisman, giving them individual superpowers. These talismans turn Ace Frehley into the Spaceman, Gene Simmons into the Demon, Paul Stanley into the Starchild, and Peter Criss into the Catman. In Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park, Abner Devereaux steals their talismans and is able to neutralize the powerless Kiss members with his ray gun, locking them under Magic Mountain and turning their once peaceful concert into an absolute riot. It's only after Kiss manages to retrieve their talismans that they can defeat the evil Phantom and his imposter bots, restoring peace and order to the park. Like the Wizard of Oz, the Phantom has been defeated. Shout it out loud. Why Kiss? Some found it odd that Kiss was starring in their own kid-friendly Saturday night adventure. Their popularity was at its peak in 1977, the year Phantom of the Park was planned. Their gross income at the time was estimated to be over $10 million. Creative manager Bill Aucoin felt the albums and live shows were running their course, and touring could take them no further. Aucoin believed it was time for Kiss to step into a bigger world, elevating their success by turning them into real-life superheroes. It started with a 1977 comic book from Marvel, pairing the unlikely rockers with Howard the Duck. They later got their own magazine-sized Marvel Comics Super Special, printed with the band's own blood mixed with red ink in a big promotional stunt that horrified parents. The comics were a hit, so the next obvious step was the big screen. Only Kiss's first film wasn't so ambitious. Pitched as A Hard Day's Night meets Star Wars, Phantom of the Park arrived instead as a small screen made-for-TV movie on NBC that was quickly forgotten. Magic Mountain. Most of Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park was shot at Magic Mountain, more commonly known today as Six Flags. The massive theme park is located in Valencia, California, opening in 1971, just 7 years before members of Kiss would invade the popular tourist attraction with their rock and roll antics. The movie features plenty of rides from that time, with quite a few still operating today. Many might recognize Magic Mountain from the 1983 comedy classic National Lampoon's Vacation, standing in as Wally World. Both movies feature Colossus, one of the world's most iconic roller coasters, built the same year Phantom of the Park was released. Six Flags has appeared in dozens of TV shows over the years and is a popular shooting destination for Hollywood due to its proximity to Los Angeles. The big climactic concert was filmed in the Magic Mountain parking lot with over 8,000 fans in attendance. AM radio station KTNQ gave out tickets to the show where Kiss performed a full set. After the main concert wrapped, the band also lip-synced several numbers to later be used in the finished film. Glad I wasn't the guy who had to clean the parking lot that night. Hanna-Barbera rocks. Hanna-Barbera are responsible for introducing some of the most iconic cartoon characters of all time. From the Flintstones to the Jetsons to Yogi Bear and through Scooby-Doo, William Hanna and Joseph Barbera were the kings of Saturday morning in the 70s. They held a nation of children under their spell. So why did they get entangled with these fire-breathing blood spitters? That's a good question. The duo produced Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park, turning the once menacing and dangerous rock band into kid-friendly superheroes. The movie even uses a lot of the iconic sound effects from some of their more popular animated series and shorts, turning these alleged demon-worshipping partiers into a live-action cartoon. That did not go over well with fans at all, who wanted to burn and bury Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park, and they did for a while. Kiss can't act. The Phantom production was rushed, with all 4 members of Kiss taking a crash course in acting. That didn't work out too well for him. Ace Frehley's reluctance to work with the scriptwriters resulted in the spaceman being reduced to an intergalactic Harpo Marx, a monosyllabic otherworldly hero who only interjects with the occasional word act. I mean, talk about your acting. That's a joke we stole from Ryan Downey. When Ace learned of his reduced role and non-existent dialogue, he demanded more lines or he'd walk. The writers obliged, but perhaps not to the musicians' benefit. None of the band members had any prior acting experience, and they all found it difficult to adjust to the demands of filming, especially all of those long nights of downtime on set. Both Peter Criss and Ace Frehley were dealing with substance abuse at the time, which only added to the chaos behind the scenes. This included Peter Criss and their tour manager Fritz Postlethwaite getting in a serious car accident, and Ace frequently storming off set due to fights with the director. He was replaced in several scenes by his African-American stunt double, who is clearly seen instead. The Catman's voice was mostly replaced by iconic cartoon actor Michael Bell, best known as Zan and Gleek on Super Friends, and his many roles in the Smurfs. Peter Criss's real voice is only heard during the acoustic performance of Beth. Considering the lyrics, perhaps this whole catastrophe could be blamed on Beth. A rock and roll nightmare. Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park was released at the height of the band's popularity in the late 70s. NBC believed they were about to unleash a ratings hit when the made-for-TV movie debuted on Saturday night, October 28, 1978, kicking off the long Halloween weekend. Despite being the second biggest TV movie of the year behind Shogun, Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park bombed with fans of that era. The movie's bad acting and silly story was a turnoff for the older members of Kiss Army. The once dangerous and seemingly demonic rock band were now starring in a kiddie flick. A lot of rockers scoffed at the ridiculousness of it all. Before its big TV debut, members of Kiss watched the movie at a private screening where it was met with a positive response from management and friends in attendance. But the group hated what they saw. Kiss despised the movie for making them look like buffoons. Legend claims no one working for Kiss was allowed to ever mention the movie in their presence for several decades after its release. Despite the harsh criticism, Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park has gone on to amass a huge cult following. It is now considered an important piece of the band's long history. Members of Kiss now look at Phantom of the Park with both bemusement and disgust. Gene Simmons has compared it to Plan 9 from Outer Space, which is considered the worst movie of all time. Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park has certainly earned its place in the upper echelon of bad movies, no matter how much you think you love it. Hitting the big screen. Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park only aired in the US one time on NBC, but Avco Embassy Pictures did release the feature-length film in international theaters, where a vastly different version called Attack of the Phantoms was shown. It featured several scenes missing from the original TV cut. In Italy, the movie was retitled Kiss Phantoms. The soundtrack overseas was also vastly different, replacing the Hanna-Barbera fight score with songs from the band itself, a move that seemed to make a whole lot more sense. The international cut featured 18 original songs from the band. These singles were pulled from Kiss's extensive back catalog at the time. The soundtrack included hit songs from Love Gun, Hotter Than Hell, Dressed to Kill, and Destroyer, as well as several songs from the 4 solo albums that came out that same year. The Scooby-Doo sequel? Sadly, Phantom of the Park didn't get a proper sequel, but Hanna-Barbera recognized fans' thirst for more theme park action. The band returned in Scooby-Doo and Kiss Rock and Roll Mystery, an animated feature film released direct to DVD in 2015. It follows a very similar storyline to the original Kiss classic. Mystery Inc. travels to the Kiss World amusement park to watch the band in action at their big Halloween concert. Fred, Daphne, Velma, Shaggy, and Scooby-Doo eventually team up with the Demon, Starchild, Catman, and the Spaceman to solve the mystery of the Crimson Witch. She is terrorizing the park much like the Phantom did at Magic Mountain way back in 1978. The animated adventure includes 7 songs from Kiss, including the new single Don't Touch My Ascot, a song written specifically for the movie. Rock and Roll Mystery was a big hit with fans of both Scooby-Doo and Kiss. This time, Hanna-Barbera got it right. The Bill and Ted Connection. Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park ends with members of the band fighting their own animatronic doppelgangers on stage. They defeat the imposters and save the concert. In 1991, Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey ended the same way, with the real Bill and Ted playing the battle of the bands to defeat their own evil robot usses. Funny enough, just like the Phantom of the Park, this entire ending was also shot on stage at Magic Mountain. We should know we were there. Obviously, Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey was directly influenced by Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park. It even ends with the Kiss song God Gave Rock and Roll to Us Too, which plays over in credits. Station! Where can you see it now? With Kiss initially disgusted by their appearance in Phantom of the Park, the movie only aired one time on NBC before disappearing for several years. Many compared it to George Lucas's much-maligned Star Wars Holiday Special. Unlike that seasonal abomination, Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park did eventually get released on VHS in the late 80s. It then found its way onto Laserdisc in 1991. Cheezy Flicks attempted to release the original TV version of the movie on DVD, but it was quickly pulled for legal reasons. Copies sometimes, but very rarely, pop up on eBay, so keep an eye out. Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park is not currently streaming on any services, nor is it available on demand to rent or buy. The European edit is available on DVD as part of Kissology Volume 2, 1978 through 1991, a collection of concerts and TV appearances. That might be your best bet if you're desperate to see this wild cult oddity. If you're looking for the perfect double feature, Detroit Rock City is a 1999 American teen comedy from director Adam Rifkin. It follows 4 teenage boys in a Kiss tribute band who try to see their idols at a concert in Detroit in 1978, the same year Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park was released. That's it for The Phantom. If you enjoy this video, be sure to rock that like button and then share the experience with your friends. Thanks for watching. Until the next time, we'll be rocking our Kiss albums while riding Goliath at Six Flags. Be sure to keep an eye out for Abner Devereaux the next time you visit Magic Mountain. Rumor claims he roams the park late at night riding Colossus all by himself while humming Beth.